Spoiler alert, the following podcast includes discussions on film that may potentially, intentionally or inadvertently, reveal plot twists, character traits, story details, up to and including endings that might otherwise be considered spoilers. Proceed at your own risk.
You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
God told me to. God is dead.
What you looking at?
It all sounds like some bad movie.
Oh no, is this divine intervention? Have we tread too far?
I have to admit, I'm not. I really don't want to review this because just because of my own, just the way I was brought up and you know, the belief in God and I'm supposed to and all that shit. I don't want to review this movie.
Well, for anybody who's confused at this point, this is Moviesucktastic. I'm Scott.
Yeah.
The hesitant believer is Joey, and we're going to be reviewing God's Not Dead.
Oh, even though I don't want to, I am.
And all right, I want to preface this review, and we brought this up before, that we are capable of enjoying and watching films that we don't necessarily agree with. Now, myself as an atheist, for example, I love The Ninth Configuration.
Great movie.
Very religious film.
Extremely religious.
And ends on philosophical, theological, ends on the idea that there is an afterlife.
Right.
Love the movie.
I like I love the idea that there's an afterlife. I really do.
Oh no, it's a great idea. Yeah. So all I'm trying to say is that personal beliefs notwithstanding, we're reviewing the film, not backing up a political or religious whatever agenda.
Oh yeah, this film fucking sucked.
So.
Oh my god.
Because the one thing you'll see is, if you go into the IMDb reviews or anywhere else where these films are reviewed, you'll have a lot of people trashing the film, and then everybody, let's say 50%, even though it's more than that, 50% of the people that give a positive review and defend the movie will claim that the negative ones are either hateful Christian bashing or are angry and jealous because the film's so right. So we're gonna just want to weed that out right now.
We're not going to review the film that way.
Exactly.
We're going to review it purely on its cinematic merits, which is shit.
So, Joe, what's the plot to God's Not Dead?
The plot, and my challenge factor later. We'll get to the challenge. My challenge factors into what the plot is in this. It's about a college student who's having a tough time.
Okay.
All right. So my challenge, just think about that.
Is it Transformers 2?
It is not. It is better than that. I will give you some hints later. Okay. Yeah. All right. So the basic plot of the film is this kid. He's a freshman. He's already picked all of his classes, and he gets
Christian freshman.
Right. He picks all of his classes. He's got everything all set for semester wise, everything is in order. So he goes to register, and the one guy tells him, he goes, "Oh, you have, I don't even remember the professor's name. You have so-and-so." I should bring that up.
Professor Radisson.
That's right, Radisson. And he goes, "Oh, you have so-and-so. Maybe you should switch," because he sees the cross. He's wearing a cross around his neck. Well, anyway, it's become known that Professor Radisson is an atheist, and that he makes his class admit that God is dead so that they can get right to the philosophy, right to learning in his classroom the way he wants them to learn. So this kid has a big problem with that because he's a Christian, and he won't sign the piece of paper saying God is dead, even though he's telling him it's 30% of his grade if he doesn't. So the story, the basic plot is you got a freshman with an atheist professor who bullies him and threatens to fail him, or at the very least, if he's perfect the rest of the way, he'll get a C, and he's trying to get into law school. And there are other factors in the film, like there's a businesswoman with her business boyfriend. There's
the ridiculous side stories. Yeah.
Yes, there are other side stories, but that is the main plot. Is this kid battling his professor across 3 sessions that are 20 minutes each for him to prove that God isn't dead, and he has to have the classroom agree with him. The classroom is basically the jury.
Right.
So that's the basic plot of the film.
Now, can I start right off?
Sure.
A philosophy professor saying, let's just everybody agree that this is a solid fact and ignore religion and move on to other parts of philosophy? Never, ever fucking happen. Ever, period, ever.
Right.
It makes no fucking sense. Religion, to remove religion and God from philosophy, you'd have to remove half of the philosophical movements, schools of philosophy. Existentialism, I mean, that's built right into that. It's fucking ludicrous. That and any philosophy teacher would tell you any philosophy teacher would tell you this is a definite fact that you cannot argue. That's the whole point of fucking philosophy.
Yeah, philosophize.
Exactly. And he has a list behind him. These are all, and they try to paint philosophy itself as anti-Christian because he has this list behind him. See all these philosophers here? They're all atheists. That's all they have in common.
Yeah.
So philosophy, obviously, if we want to really talk about philosophy, let's just get out this whole God thing out of the way. Not even close.
With the philosophy, I want to ride you like a canoe, but a gentle one.
Gentle. Now, the second part of that same thing, a teacher saying, deny your faith in your God or I will fail you.
Yeah,
never happen. Never has happened. Never will. Never, ever.
You bring that shit up to the fucking dean, and you get that taken care of.
Never, ever.
I'm
has
saying,
happened, will happen.
Period. If ever happened, you bring that shit up to the dean. This teacher, this professor is saying he's going to fail me unless I admit that God is dead. That's it. Done.
You can fail.
Someone's leaving the classroom. They will bend over backwards for you to reassign you somewhere else, or the professor is going to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Say God's dead one more time, motherfucker. I'll double dare you. I love this part in the film. This is the sister of Kevin Sorbo, the Radisson. She goes. No, this is the sister of Dean Cain. This is the business one, the business guy, the one that basically tells his girlfriend that she has cancer. He's leaving her. Well, this is his sister visiting their mother who has dementia, and she she sees that she doesn't have a ring on her hand. Man, did she fall out of dementia real fast for disgust and disappointment.
You slut.
Oh my God. She's got her moments where she falls out of dementia. It's very rare, but it's like, that was one of those moments.
Conveniently, it's only moments that involve like Christian or religious clarity. Like she can't remember her children, but but when it comes time to give a speech about the devil, everything falls into place.
Oh yeah, and the fact that she she's not married and sleeping around. She's like you said,
and I don't know what the fuck this guy, Chuck Konzelman, the guy that wrote and directed this film and God's Not Dead 2. I don't know what the fuck he has with
Harold Kronk. Harold Kronk directed this movie.
I meant wrote. I'm sorry, the writer.
Chuck Konzelman. And Hunter Dennis also got credit for the story.
I meant to say wrote and produced. My mistake.
There's actually 5 or 4. No. There's three screenwriters on this. Oof.
I don't know what what kind of obsession he has with elderly dementia, but God's Not Dead 2 has a completely separate character who also has a mother who's got dementia in a home. It's just like you got to have somebody. It's weird. I don't know why that has to be in both films.
It's weak story writing. It really comes down to, because their whole.
Is there any strong story writing in this?
No. Well, because what this film relies heavily on is that God is great. That I've heard family members say that, and when they do, I just, they're family, so I don't say anything. But I'm like, come on, just really. I don't say anything about them not being able to believe in that stuff. Obviously, I was raised Catholic, very strict Catholic family, all of that. But
all right, but that has nothing to do with this.
No, so, it has nothing to do with it.
Right.
But But what I'm saying is the film relies heavily on it. That's what I'm getting at.
All right.
So they'll put things like that in the storyline, weak storyline plots like that, just throw in there to prove their point that God is great. Because even though this person has dementia, and even though this person is not good or this person is better, God is great, and all of these things are shown throughout the film to prove, quote unquote, their point.
Well, because there's a plan to everything.
Right, exactly.
Right, and and we'll talk about God's plan at the end of the review.
Yeah.
Minor spoiler alert.
No, this spoiler. I'll put that in the description. We're spoiling the shit out of this one.
I don't give a shit if anybody is upset that we ruined this film.
You know what? Let's not put it in so that maybe we'll get some extra hits. I don't know. Once you bring up God, people really get mad.
You have you mentioned her. One of the side stories is this woman that's dating this asshole business guy.
Right.
Common theme is professional people, professors, businessmen, anti-religious assholes.
Yep.
That's right at the top there. Kevin Sorbo, he's a professor. All these elite professors, they're all snide, anti-Christian,
well, even all the people he associates with when he has his dinner party. When
the professors, they're all professors.
Yeah, when his girlfriend comes into the room and starts defending the kid that's, debating him in class, and she says, well, I'm a Christian, and the snide and dirty looks that she gets from everyone in the room are, why aren't you literally on fire right now? Get out of this room.
It's and this is where the Christian propaganda aspect of this film comes in, where it's portrayed that even admitting you're Christian is like setting yourself up to be a pariah. It's like you don't even dare. Like, again, the Christian kid goes to school. Yeah, you got a class on? You may not want to take this class. It's a philosophy class. They're into like open thinking and stuff like that. You may not like fit in there, which is what he should have said. And then the professor's younger girlfriend. She's like, everybody's making fun of her. They make fun of her because she's Christian and because she ruins the wine.
Yeah, and she's playing literally servant the whole evening.
Yeah. So anytime anybody has to, and then you have the other side characters, the students. You have the two students. The one student that's in the same class as Josh Wheaton is the Asian kid.
Oh, right.
And his father, who apparently is always driving somewhere whenever they talk.
Yeah.
Anytime he ever talks to his father on the phone in China. It was China, right?
Yeah, it was China.
Yeah.
China, the Republic of
Yeah, it's
China,
Chinese,
because
yeah.
it's like,
And-
what does this stand for? Oh, it's Republic of
Yeah.
China. It's like, ugh.
And so every time he talks to his father en route somewhere, he's like, "Well, you don't risk anything. You're going to ruin everything. You have to deny God."
And then at one point he says he's going to ruin his brother's chance for something. It's like, how is that even fucking possible? He's in a different country.
Yeah, well, because
Because
I'm
his belief in God is going to come back in some way. It's like, he believes in God. Can you believe this? He's ruining our family.
Well, China is, if I'm correct, still a communist country. And,
I don't know. Maybe. You're probably right.
And the whole idea is these communist, anti-religious countries, they deny God. So I guess if he says that he doesn't say he doesn't believe in God, somehow word will get back, and then like they'll cut off his funding. I don't know. It doesn't make any. Again, he's from another country. He decides he's Christian. He converts, and now like his family is in the sequel. His father disowns him. By the way.
Oh, great.
Yeah, his father. I'm disowned. I have no money. I don't know how to pay tuition. And of course, there are other good Christians to help him, because you Christians that are persecuted for being Christian have to stick together.
Don't go down that path. That's not what we're doing.
No, in the movie, I'm saying, in the film, they set up this whole thing. Again, it's the whole thing that Christians are being persecuted at every angle, and they have to,
Yeah,
get
at one point
themselves.
when he calls back to China, which apparently he could just do easily. He said, in Chinese, all of those scenes are subtitled. He says, "We used to celebrate Christmas every year, and then we stopped." Yeah, because you're 21. And you're right. His father is just going somewhere every time.
Right, and also,
And they might have just
you
filmed
mentioned-
all those scenes in one day. Who knows?
Probably, yeah.
The budget was
now-
very small on this.
Now, also point out, since we're talking about that scene, when they have those scenes where they're talking on the phone together,
Right.
they're speaking two different dialects.
Oh, really?
They're speaking.
Is that a
I
goof?
forget the exact. I think one of them's Mandarin. It's like Mandarin and Cantonese. Something. I honestly forget. I read it somewhere. I obviously I didn't notice when I was watching the film. I don't speak Chinese of any kind.
So I'm assuming that both actors speak
We're filmed
Chinese.
totally separately. Yeah.
Obviously they were filmed separately. But what I'm getting at is they were just both speaking in their native dialect, and they just said, "Here, say this in Chinese. Here, say this in Chinese," and we'll
Here it
throw
is.
up subtitles.
Yeah, it is. I just found it. Mandarin and Cantonese. They're two entirely different and mutually unintelligible dialects. The person that put the goof up said it's as if the son was speaking Spanish while the dad was speaking Italian. Completely fucking ridiculous. So the total lack of care on the writer filmmaker's part as far as like portraying other nationalities correctly is appallingly bad. Especially when we get to Aisha, the Muslim girl.
Oh, right.
The Muslim girl who's working in the cafeteria at the college, and they show her strict Muslim father who every 5 seconds is adjusting her burqa while they're driving, because I'm sure that's common. Every 5 seconds, making sure the burqa is covering her face, and then when she gets to school, she sneaks off behind a tree and takes it all off and turns into Superman, and then goes work, and they the first but really racist aspect of the film.
Right.
I got racist, like I guess I don't know, just bigoted. Christian bigotry right here is when she's doing it, and this other girl comes up and says, "You're beautiful. I wish you didn't have to do that." And I'm thinking, okay, this is a setup for
Lesbians.
learning about what?
First thing I thought of, lesbians.
Well, that's a different movie.
I wish it was this movie.
What?
I wish it was this movie.
Yeah. I mean, my first instinct from like normal films was, oh, okay, this is a setup where we're going to start exploring different religions and how they're misunderstood by each other. And so this is going to be, oh, yeah, I do this, but, there's reasons why we have this, and it's part of my religion. It's not really a bad thing that I'm covering myself up. It's just part of our culture. La, la, la. No. That was just them pointing out she shouldn't have to do that because she's pretty. It's an oppressive religion.
Right. It's like that religion bad, our religion good.
Right, and they hammer that home when she's caught listening to the Bible on her iPod.
Oh, the Corinthians.
And so her father literally throws her out of the house.
Yeah, but beats her up first.
Why does it beat her up?
He hits her in the face at least twice, hard.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, they were really. Oh, and here's the scene where fucking Duck Dynasty douche.
Oh my
he
God!
makes that
this
cameo.
whole film is a commercial for Duck Dynasty and the fucking
And Newsboys.
Newsboys.
Newsboys or New Boys? Where the fuck?
Newsboys.
Newsboys. Who gives a shit?
I'm familiar with
I got news for them. They suck. God surely ain't. Who writes the lyrics? God surely ain't dead. Or God's not dead. He surely is alive. That's what it is. Who the fuck writes that? That is a stupid line.
Even more importantly, who's Shirley?
Yeah, don't ever call me Shirley.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, the father only slaps her a couple of times while he's trying to make her renounce Christianity and praise Allah.
Okay, so here's a continuity error.
I'm a mistake. Apologize.
Here's a continuity error. And I only bring this up because, like you had mentioned before, where they didn't take anything into consideration about the Cantonese and the Mandarin language for the two people who were speaking. The girl that's interviewing the Duck Dynasty guy, she's a vegetarian. She's got the bumper stickers on it. You know, she's interviewing him about him killing fowl or ducks, however you want to call them.
Go ahead. I don't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
But in the very previous scene when she has her GPS stolen, because what moron leaves the GPS in the windshield? I've actually seen people's windshields and windows broken and have their GPS stolen. That actually does happen. So that was just stupid on her part. It's probably the most believable thing in the film. Anyway, when she's talking to her boyfriend and she loses her GPS, she says, "I need directions." So he says, "What's in it for me?" But right before that, he says he made reservations at La Rive Garouche, some fancy French restaurant. Okay? Which specializes in duck, because I looked it up. They specialize in duck, chicken, and beef. That is like the three main things on every part of their menu.
They probably did that on purpose.
But they don't go into it. They just show that they're at that restaurant when he breaks up with her when she tells him she has cancer.
That's probably the cleverest this film has gotten.
Maybe. But I just thought that was really just... I take it as a continuity error that she's like this vegan animal.
No, I think that's supposed to be the point, though. I think it's supposed to be just to show...
But she doesn't seem, taken aback when he says, "Oh, I made reservations at La Rive La Grouche," or whatever. And she's like, "Oh, really? You'll take me there, but you won't give me directions."
Because she takes his shit, and because it's again, anything involving upper class, rich, and I don't totally disagree, but like upper, the rich, the top percent, anything fancy, it's all perceived as evil. So she's like, she's tempted by evil. She's tempted by that. She's tempted by this asshole with money because she's lost God.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she wouldn't. So that's I see where that's supposed to be. That.
I don't give them that much credit. I think it's
part of the theme. It's a continuing theme in the sequel as well, so I can back that up.
But it's just a restaurant.
But
I just see it as a continuity error because it's
I
just
disagree.
a restaurant.
I think it was intentional.
I had to look it up in order to say, "Oh yeah, they specialize in duck."
Probably too clever because they didn't mention it on the movie, but it's still.
Okay. I'm still not 100% on your side, but
I'm right, so that's okay.
Okay, so now I'm not even going to give it to you now. I was going to give you a little bit, but I'm not anymore.
So when I think her name's Lisa. Now, her character that you mentioned, she is a reporter.
I don't think it was Lisa.
Is it? What the hell's the name then?
It was. I want to say it was like Amy or something.
Amy?
Yeah.
The cancer girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Amy.
Amy Ryan.
Right, Amy Ryan. She's a reporter for a left-wing blog.
Yeah.
And so of course she's like an ambush journalist. She attacks people on their way to church. Says, "Hey, And again, she attacks the Duck Dynasty people, the Robertsons, who they just bend over backwards just to portray as like the nicest people in the world. And she's like, and she comes out like, "How dare you like contribute to the death of all those ducks?"
Right, and then she tells his wife, "It's like, when was the last time you were barefoot and pregnant, or something like that?" It's like, wow, that's really fucked up.
Well, because that's how, again, that all non-Christians are like this. They're rude, they're attacking, and they make ludicrous things about, "Oh, how dare you kill ducks?" Fuck. And then, it's like from a realistic standpoint, she's the worst blogger ever.
I mean, and of course they like you had just said, bend over backwards. Just have him make sure he says, I eat whatever I kill. So it makes it okay.
Even it's horrible. And like then when she at the end when she barges in on the newsboys and with her ambush journalism, what's her big gotcha question? How can you go out there and just preach God to those kids? What?
Oh, and they all to me, they all look like ex-junkies. They do.
They're junkies for the Lord.
No. There's a weird thing that happens with junkies, and it's only because I've known quite a few, some being family members. When they hit rock bottom, they all find God. And that's great because they've saved themselves, quote unquote. If that's how they can get healthy and not destroy themselves or their family, fine, go that way.
That's part of the AA, the 12-step program.
Is to find God.
Is to admit in a higher power other than yourself. That's how they phrase it. But yeah, the 12-step program. One of the steps is.
So it doesn't have to be God. I mean, it could be Buddha. As long as
it has to be a higher. It's usually God. It's usually God.
I think that's unfair to push that.
I agree. That's
Okay.
one of the reasons I'm not 100% supporter of AA.
Well, when I used to work with my father, we used to do this one business. It's not a business. This one client that we used to have was a born again church, and they would always try and recruit me every time I did work for them. And here's a quick story. We were doing work one day, and at the time I was very much into baseball, even, not more than hockey, but very much into baseball at the time. So the guy, because I guess I was wearing a Yankees hat or something, so he starts talking to me about baseball, and he starts telling me how he used to be a junkie, how he went to jail and all that, and now that he's found God, trying to recruit me. And he asked me, he goes, "You like baseball?" I said, "Yeah, I like baseball." He goes, "Do you like to play baseball?" I said, "I love to play baseball." He goes, "You should come here, be born again, and you should play baseball for us." And I said, "Well, I don't know. I'm not really. I'm Catholic." What?
Can I play baseball without being born again?
Yeah. So, but the whole point of the story is they kept trying to recruit me. My father would always take the job.
Right.
I don't know why. I tell him I hate going there.
Because it's money.
It was money.
Yeah.
See, it wasn't a Catholic church. My father never charged Catholic churches.
Well, sure.
We'd break our ass all day, and he would never take a dime for a Catholic church. But anyway, to finish the story, the punchline of the whole story is he would say, "Do you like to play baseball?" "I love to play baseball." "Well, you should come play for us because you'd also be playing for the Lord." Those were his exact words. And I believe it. Yeah. Just like, no, thank you.
Now, in the film, there's what?
No, I was just going to say one last thing. They also believe that if you do not become born again before you die, you could be free of sin your whole life, be charitable, free of sin, never do anything wrong. If you don't become born again before you die, you do not get to go to heaven.
Right. Now, this is the part where we're discussing religion instead of the film.
Yes.
Okay. So, speaking of churches and stuff, there is a character in the film called Reverend Dave.
Yeah. Although, don't they refer to him as something else?
He's Reverend Dave.
They refer to him as Pastor Dave. Someone refers to him as Pastor Dave.
He's Reverend Dave.
He is Reverend Dave, but I think they made an error. Someone refers to him as Pastor Dave.
Maybe he can be both.
One time. Can you be both?
I don't know. Maybe they made a mistake.
Okay.
So Reverend Dave is this background character who touches the lives of all these people.
With you being a reverend, do you know Reverend Dave?
No, different religion.
Joking. Kidding. Don't, what are you, 5? I have a 5-year-old that does that.
Yes. Now, Reverend Dave, he's there to offer counseling to a lot of these different people that are having problems with their thing. Josh, who's being told to admit God is dead, he goes for help, and Reverend Dave gives him a Bible quote, which turns out to say, "Yeah, fight."
He actually gives him 3 Bible quotes.
Right, Kevin Sorbo, after he viciously makes fun of his girlfriend at a dinner party, Dick. She bumps into him at a
makes
restaurant.
fun of his own girlfriend. I just want to clarify that.
His own girlfriend, yeah. Well, Kevin Sorbo's girlfriend after he makes fun of her.
I think when you listen back, it sounds like Kevin Sorbo makes fun of his student's girlfriend. It's fine. Go ahead.
She bumps into the Reverend Dave at a restaurant, like a coffee house, whatever, and she tells her how beautiful, how perfect she is, and God made her in perfection, so she shouldn't let somebody else make her feel bad about himself. Instead of like pretty much, I don't know, and I think bringing God into that whole discussion instead of, your boyfriend's a dick. I think you could have got that. I think you could have got there without God. That's just me. Right. That's just me.
I agree. No, I do.
And there's an ongoing story throughout the film where he's trying to get to Disneyland, and he can't because God keeps killing.
Well, because his friend comes in from fucking, I don't know, Zimbabwe or there's some third world country. 36-hour flight, many transfers and layovers and all that shit. But he's happy because God is good. That's his thing. God is good all the time, and I forget the back and forth, but basically it's God is good. But he wants to go to Disneyland, so Reverend Dave wants to take him, and he gets in his car, like you said, it starts it up, and the battery dies. Then he goes and he gets a rent-a-car. The guy brings that, gets in that, it dies the next day. I mean, it's just over and over. It happens like 3 times.
Right. God keeps killing his cars to keep him in town for the big ending.
Right.
Right.
Which is now ridiculous.
Right. We will cover that in detail. Yeah. So those are the storylines. The as you mentioned, the blogger, she finds out she has cancer. Apparently, she has no family whatsoever.
None.
No friends whatsoever. And just a dick boyfriend and a computer.
Yeah, it's possible that maybe she is from a different state and she's living there and she really doesn't have anyone. I'm not going to shit on it too much for that.
It's called a fucking phone. She has no friends, no family. She has no one to talk to. Except her shitty boyfriend and her computer.
Right.
And her boyfriend dumps her at dinner at a fancy restaurant because she has cancer. And he's like, "Hey, babe, you knew what this was all along.
Yeah. This couldn't have waited till tomorrow." I love his this couldn't have waited till tomorrow. Like, wow, they're really hammering it home that he's an asshole.
Yeah. Your cancer's ruining my meal here. Come on.
Yeah, we're eating here. I mean, he won't even visit his mother because what the fuck for? She has dementia. He doesn't know who the fuck I am.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Just, again, the business guy has to be as callous and cold and indifferent as ever. And this leads to his lack of spirituality.
Right.
But
his sister, on the other hand,
who's the one dating Kevin Sorbo?
Right, who's dating Kevin Sorbo. She's devout Christian, visits her mother regularly, even though, the look of disgust and disappointment that she's not married, she still, goes to see her.
You're shacking up with him, aren't you?
Yeah, you're fucking your professor. And I don't know when he was her professor, but it had to be like 15 years ago. I mean, she's an attractive girl, but no one's buying that she's in her 20s. She's in her 40s, for Christ's sakes. She's nearly 50.
Oh, all right, now you're getting silly.
I think she was born in 71.
It's 50s. I think you're getting silly when you say 50 there.
Well, okay, she's in her mid-40s. I mean, isn't Kevin Sorbo? I don't think Kevin Sorbo's 50 yet.
Kevin Sorbo? Kevin Sorbo was born in 58.
Oh, shit. He looks pretty good for his age then.
Oh, yeah. Well, hell, he's Hercules.
He's Hercules.
And I love the fact that he used Kevin Sorbo, the atheist in this film, who denies the existence of God, played a demigod, a Greek demigod, in a TV show for a long time. Is what he's most famous for.
He made his wealth doing that shit.
Right. Now, while all these other side stories are going on, Josh is defending the existence of God.
Oh, it's funny. They don't have her age on IMDb.
Of course not.
That's always a bad sign.
Yeah, so Josh is going before the class, and he's debating the existence of God, and they don't really get into any philosophy. They get into like science. He brings up a lot of scientific stuff and points to how he uses a lot of like that creationist versus evolution kind of arguments about the Big Bang could have been this and that and the everything and then like he'll bring out Stephen Hawking said this. They're like, oh yeah, well Stephen Hawking also said that God, there is a God. Ha ha. So they're just like dueling scientist quotes.
Yeah,
it's
ridiculous. It's a little stupid.
It is. And now at the end of the debate when he wins. The spoiler, when he actually proves that God, when he gets the class to agree that God is not dead, he tricks Kevin Sorbo with that nasty Christian trick that they do, and this is a nasty trick, and it works every time. And Kevin Sorbo also has admitted in a fit of anger that the reason he doesn't believe in God is because his grandmother died when he's 7.
Who?
Kevin Sorbo.
No, his mother when he was 12.
I thought it was his mother. Grandmother?
It was his mother at 12.
Same thing. So because of that, he doesn't believe in God. It's not because he has any it can't be founded in any kind of theological, philosophical framework. It has to be a reactionary response to a tragedy that he couldn't deal with, and so he rejected spirituality. All atheists are like that. They're all just bitter, angry people who have rejected God because something happened and they didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't looked at hard facts or just fossils, carbon dating.
Well, that's evolution. That's a whole different thing.
It is a whole different thing.
But yeah, but no.
But they do. But you know what? In his speeches, they go into that though.
Yeah, they do.
They go into Dawkins. They go into Hawkins. Or Darwinism and all. They go into all of that, and they really hammer home that some of these guys might have not changed their mind, but said, "Listen, there very well could be a higher power, but we don't know exactly what that is. But you know what? There's no proof. I don't think that there is, but there might be."
Right. So the big trick that always works is because all atheists are angry. You have to know that for the trick to work.
Oh, sure.
All atheists are bitter, angry people, and that's why they hate Christians and why they hate God. And so he gets Kevin Sorbo to admit that he hates God. And it's like, how can you hate something that doesn't exist? And he wins the debate. Not through any kind of philosophy or any kind of theological propositions. No, he wins it because he tricks Kevin Sorbo to admitting that he hates God, so he has to believe in him, and that means God exists. Because if you believe in something, it does exist, and if you don't believe in it, it does still exist, you just don't believe in it. I think that's how that works. Anyway, he wins the debate.
Yeah, he tricks him.
And here's where the ending comes.
Yeah, so after he loses this debate, his girlfriend has already broken up with him at this point because she's tired of eating his shit, and she basically says, "I'm leaving you, I'm gone." And then
her father says, "You're leaving me." And after her father throws her out, she goes back to Reverend Dave, and the Christian church helps her because they get persecuted Christians every hour of the day. They know how to deal with them.
Oh, yeah, it's just... Yeah. I mean, even his secretary is still there. "We're here for you." Mm-hmm. She hasn't even gone home. I think she lives there.
Probably.
Yeah. So, after Kevin Sorbo's girlfriend breaks up with her, Everyone obviously is going to go see the Newsboys concert,
Everyone in the fucking world.
which is at the Hastings Center, which this film takes place in Louisiana, but the Hastings Center, because I looked it up, is in fucking New York. So, another.
Sure?
Oh,
Is
I looked it up.
Okay.
The Hastings Center is in New York. It's actually in
Yeah.
not. Well, I guess it's a few hours into New York. I guess that counts as upstate. But let's put it, it's not in fucking Louisiana.
Right. Josh is going. The Asian kid is going. The ex-Muslim girl is going. The cancerous journalist, she crashes the newsboys back in their green room, and she tries to wow them with how can you go out there and pray, talk about God and stuff to those kids, and then again they win her over with just that infallible logic of where do you get your hope from? And it's like, oh God, you're right, yeah. And then she crumbles she collapses like a cheap camera, and she oh yeah, there is a God, please pray for me, blah 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 blah. Which, you know what, when you're converting someone who's emotionally crippled because they found out they have a deadly disease, kind of low. Yeah. In my opinion.
I agree.
And so you were saying Kevin Sorbo, distraught, Professor Radisson, distraught, doesn't know what to do. He
After
digs
he
out,
loses the debate, he calls her, gets her voicemail, and says, "Please call me back." And he I don't know, call it women's intuition. Call it whatever you want.
No. I know. I can tell you.
Oh, I remember how he figures out she's there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, first he reads. He pulls out his mother's letter, which he apparently always has kept before she died. She wrote him a letter because I guess she wasn't allowed to talk to him directly on her deathbed, and she wrote him a letter telling him don't blame God and all God stuff, and that's why he hated God, because she it's again bitter atheist, angry at God. And so he reads this, he's upset, and he glances down, and there's a newspaper. The newsboys are in town. I have to see them.
Actually, they're not, but
this will.
So he gets on a plane. He gets on a plane. No, he doesn't.
In this crisis of faith, he's like, I know what'll help. I need a boy band. And so here's where it meets, and this is the part I really hate, is that God has been killing Reverend Dave's car all the time, and it's something's leading up to it, because why else will God keep killing his car? And he's done it because Reverend Dave, in this downpour, trying to get to the airport or trying to drive to Disneyland, they were going to drive there. They weren't going to take a plane. They happened to be at the intersection when Professor Radisson, running to the Essex Boys, to the Newsboys concert, is hit by a car.
And the guy drives away.
Speeds off.
He's like, what the fuck was that? Must have been a deer. He drives. No, he's like, I don't want to go to jail, and drives off. Obviously another atheist in the car, because if he wasn't an atheist, he would have got out of the car.
And I want to go back and look now, because it just occurred to me. Is it possible at all that was the journalist's boyfriend?
Ooh. See, now I have to remember if...
I don't know what kind of car it was, but you see his car in the film a couple times. He's at the end. But I'm curious about that. Now, suddenly. It never occurred to me until just now.
Well, they do flash to him when he gets the text, because obviously the fucking Duck Dynasty douche makes another appearance at the concert.
And tells everyone the text, God's not dead.
Says, everybody must know about 100 people. Text 100 people. And then there's got to be 10,000 people at this concert. That's 1 million people. That's 1 million people saying, I love God. No, you know what that is? That's 99 people that you've texted that are fucking annoyed at you. That's what that is.
Hey, everybody must know 100 people, except you, the cancerous journalist. We know you don't know nobody. That's why, you got cancer and you ain't talking to anybody. So we know you don't know nobody.
Yeah, the only person she knows is her dick boyfriend, who is Dean Cain. He gets the text and he just kind of throws his phone in the seat. He's like, fuck that shit.
Right.
I just ran over a guy.
so
allegedly. I mean,
Now,
we're going to look that up because I wonder if we can match
great.
the plate, because you see the plate very clearly when he drives away.
I'd like it a little better if that was the case. So, but what happened? So the whole point is that God has intervened.
Yes.
And killed. And this isn't like a small thing like, oh, the book opened to this page. He's killing fucking engines. In 3 cars, he kills the engines. So Reverend Dave can't go to Disneyland, just so he can be at this exact point, so that when Kevin Sorbo is there lying, broken and bleeding and crushed and dying, he can get him to convert and like have him like accept Jesus Christ and save his soul just before he dies.
Oh, and I love the fact that his friend, he sees him after he gets hit by the car, and he says his ribs are crushed and his lungs are filling with blood. Are you a fucking doctor?
Yeah, I mean, he puts his hand on his chest. He places his hand on his chest gently. It's like his ribs are his lungs are filling with blood. How the fuck do you know that? If he knows that because there's absolutely no blood coming out of his mouth. That's how he knows that.
Right.
And he's talking and is not just like coughing blood into people's faces. That's how he knows his lungs are filling with blood. And you know this because you read my written review of the film.
I did, but I did not reread it because I didn't want that to...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to have that lead me in this review. I wanted to watch the film and just do it that way.
Here's my big problem with this ending, because, again, injecting logic into this kind of bullshit. If God was so... And don't forget, Kevin Sorbo wasn't like... It wasn't like... He had this crisis of faith after the whole debate thing, so he was leading towards accepting God. He was calling his religious girlfriend. He was running to this concert. He was looking for a way to get back to religion.
Right.
How about instead of killing 3 cars and keeping Reverend Dave in town a week and ruining his friend's vacation, he killed the car of the guy that ran into Kevin Sorbo and let him live another 20, 30 years and find his religion gradually?
Because he's hated him for so long, he obviously needed to be punished.
The only answer is God is a
He's lucky he didn't kill him sooner. He's lucky he was allowed to live 50 years.
Why didn't God turn that bottle of wine into poison that she left in the trunk? So all the professors are. This is definitely off year.
I mean, you're right.
The Muslim girl's father trips and falls down the stairs and breaks his neck. Ah!
Right,
trips over the iPod, which starts playing Corinthians in a loop. As he falls.
Yeah, as his son doesn't know what to do and just stares into the camera crying. What should I do? Should I call 911? 911's forbidden. We don't have phones.
They got iPods.
I'm joking. Obviously, I'm joking.
Oh, and also, I skimmed over, but we were talking about how they had total disregard for facts when it came to other cultures.
Oh yeah.
Muslim girl too. I read, and again, I'm not 100% up on the Muslim belief system, so I read this that the girl covers her up with the burqa. She's wearing the burqa thing,
right?
But her arms are exposed.
Yeah, that whole
which
thing.
Apparently,
you got
that
it's
be there
head
either.
to toe has to be covered except for the eyes.
I don't know about head to toe, but I know they said the bare arms would have been if he was that obsessed over the face, her bare arms should have been covered too. She should have been wearing a short sleeve t-shirt.
Right, and if he was that lenient about her arms, then he probably wouldn't have beat her up and then kicked her out. Right. Probably would have given her a second chance.
And they had to pick a guy that looks like the guy from The Mummy.
I was going to say a terrorist, but that works too.
Well, don't they all? Just to be fair, since we're not bashing Christians, but we're bashing the movie. I mean, the long story short is it's a propaganda film. Everything is one-sided. Everything is built as a straw man argument for the whole thing with Kevin Sorbo. It's not really a fair debate. They've taken a person who's instead of saying let's debate the existence of God, he's like, yeah, you have to deny it because my mother died and that's why I hate God. Oops, you caught me.
Right.
It's
very much in the same way that they portray atheists as angry, bitter, in that light, all of these Christian films, they're all propaganda. Like hitting you over the head with a hammer just to get their point across.
It's a specific genre of Christian propaganda films. Not every film with a Christian message is propaganda, but the films that we're reviewing, like Kirk Cameron's Christmas movie, these are Christian propaganda films.
Right. Or anything involving Kirk Cameron.
Oh, I love the one. I love the one part where Sorbo confronts Josh
in the hallway.
Yeah. And again, he's stalking him. Like the elevator opens, and he's there waiting for him. It's like, and Josh gets in the elevator with him instead of fuck off, man.
Right, and they made a point that he had to stand in front of him with his back to him,
and he hits him.
Right.
He physically he pushes his shoulder. Now you mess with me. He physically assaults this kid, and there's really, and you don't have this guy suspended yet? but I love when Kevin Sorbo says, because the kid says he's pre-law, and the professor's like, what? I checked it. We don't have anything. What the hell's there is no such thing as pre-law. It's like, there's not. He's like, what is pre-law anyway? Well, I guess that's what you would take before you become a lawyer. They make it sound like it's just this weird, non-existent degree type thing.
Right. Yeah.
We forgot the girlfriend. Josh's girlfriend.
Oh, right. That cunt.
Yeah. Now, let's be fair. She didn't have a chance in this movie.
No.
They introduce her, and she's like, everything's great. Everything's fine.
She's the make every decision for him type girlfriend, even though she also believes in God and she feels that God put them together. But she said he should have signed the paper and that he's being stupid and he's going to ruin his life. And she breaks up with him the second she finds out that he starts doing the debate. So instead of sticking by her man and potentially being with someone that's not going to be successful or go down some sort of a successful path, she decides it's just better to just leave him.
But and again, this is like an elective he's taking.
Right.
It's like a humanities. And she's saying, you have to admit there's no God for this guy. You can't risk failing this class. We have our whole lives planned together. This is going to ruin everything. You'll never become a lawyer if you fail philosophy as a freshman. What the? Really? What fucking world is this?
And even though they don't talk about it, they don't even allude to it, I'm convinced that both of them are virgins.
Well, I don't know about her. But Josh,
no. I'm convinced because that's a whole big part of the Christian faith that you wait until you get married to have sex.
They're both virgins. Well, again, I'm saying
6 years. 6 years, which essentially means that they've been together since they were 12.
All right. Now, I said yes. Josh is definitely a virgin. I'm not so sure about her because I think she was keeping her options open.
She was the town whore.
I didn't say that. Yeah, 6 years since 12. You know what that says to me?
What?
Arranged marriage.
Could be. Yeah.
Because they do that. The Duggars do that. That was the thing with the Duggars. They have these Christian camps, and they go to these Christian camps, and the whole thing is they arrange marriages with the kids.
Yeah.
They set them up ahead of time.
You know what? I wouldn't doubt it at all. They would never. I don't think they're even stupid enough to to show that on film as a plot point. Well, I agree. I'm agreeing with you. Because if they've been together since they were 12, then obviously the parents were okay with that. Because let's say they were they're freshmen in college, they're going to be 18 years old. Realistically, they're not going to be 19. So that makes it that they're 12 years old. Worst case scenario, they're 13, which ain't fucking better.
And you say the parents, who we never see. And the only way we know they have parents is the fact that they mention them. And at one point, Josh says, "Yeah, my parents aren't thrilled about the God thing either." So this is like the Christian being persecuted by even his own family and his supposed loved ones who are just godless.
Yeah.
And they kind of imply he's going to hook up with the Muslim girl.
Yeah. Does that happen in the sequel?
No, Josh isn't in the sequel.
He's not?
No. It's a totally different. The sequel has to do with Different thing.
Amy's in the sequel. I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Amy's
in the
dealing,
sequel.
Still dealing with cancer.
Amy's in the sequel. In the sequel,
Newsboys are in the sequel.
In the sequel, they finally say what kind of cancer Amy has.
What is it? Ovarian or something?
It's breast cancer. But I remember that, like, she's with the doctor. He's like, Amy, you have cancer. And I'm thinking, don't they usually, like, give the name for it? And they don't just say you have cancer? It's like, isn't there, like, long names attached to it? And they say, you have a binomial carcinoma on the fifth lumbar of the, spinal region. They tell you, they speak doctor speak. They don't just say, all right, come in here. You have cancer.
Oh, I can't. I'm too busy.
It's like denial. The only way they could have shown denial more is if she had said, "No, I don't." Yeah, but I just love that. That's why when I read the book, I was like, "Oh, they finally named the cancer." I guess somebody complained from the first film. I don't even. And again, I haven't seen the sequel. I read the novelization of the sequel, so I'm not even sure if they name it in the sequel movie. I just know in the book they mentioned it is, and they even give the full name and then say breast cancer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But what was I? Oh,
You're talking about the ending.
I was saying the parents and the Christian prosecution.
The girlfriend. The girlfriend.
What about her?
That's where we were last talking. We were talking about the girlfriend and that they were together since they were 12. Freshman. She leaves him.
Yeah, I know, but you got off on tangent. I lost
arranged marriage.
Yeah, I know that. We were heading for something else and I lost it.
Sorry.
I lost it. I just lost it because I was trying to.
Okay.
The cancer thing. I was like, the fucking cancer. What's it? What kind is it? And then of course, while everybody else at the Newsboys concert, that's when her asshole boyfriend goes to see his dementia mother, and then it's like, and she's like snaps out of it and preaches to him about how the devil comes and gets you up in the wrong time, and then he goes in his car. He gets a text that says God is not dead, and he like throws it in the back seat and speeds away.
Right. The thing is, because basically what he tells his mother, he says, "You prayed every day. You're a good person. You do all this, and look at you. You have dementia. Me, I'm a terrible person. I'm a terrible person. I do bad things. I'm an asshole in so many words, and I'm fine. How do you explain that?" And then that's when she goes on her speech about the devil. About the devil, she's saying that the devil lets you live long enough. Lets the bad live long. It's like, not according to Billy Joel. Anyway.
and again, that's the whole thing. Again, like people, lack of spirituality is what takes to be successful. That's like the theme in this. Again, through both films, right. Successful people are successful because they reject God, spirituality. Because apparently you can't be unless you're Ben Carson.
Oof.
Then you can be both. Then you can be religious and Republican. That's how you can do both.
Oh, okay.
But other than that, if you're a business person, yeah. That's what I was saying. People that are in the sequel, because you asked about Josh. Josh is not in the sequel.
Not in this. Okay.
Yeah, Amy is in the sequel. Her boyfriend makes Dean Cain. He makes a brief appearance in the sequel, as does the Asian kid.
Okay.
And to the best of my recollection, that is it. Josh, the Muslim girl, they do not appear. Kevin Sorbo doesn't because he's dead. Reverend Dave makes a brief appearance, as does his friend,
Zimbabwe friend,
his fellow Reverend. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Can't wait to see that.
I don't want to watch it.
I read it. What kind of a masochist am I? I read the fucking novelization, which takes longer than watching the film.
Yeah. Now, I didn't realize that these were both novels.
They're not. The God's Not Dead is kind of named after a book, but the book is not a fictional novel. It's a guide for arguing with atheists to prove that God is real.
Oh.
Okay. And that's kind of what the film's pseudo named after, but it's not based on an actual book. The second movie is not a book. It's a novelization of the... Remember when they used to do that? They used to write novels based on the films? Like Back to the Future and shit that.
Yeah.
I mean, they still do it a little bit, but it used to be big at a certain point.
I used to get those all the time when I was a kid. I used to get them all the time.
So God's Not Dead 2 was a novelization of the film written by a Christian writer. And I was even, when I wrote my review of the book, I even like started off saying, I'm not knocking the writer of the book because obviously he didn't conceive the plot line, all this stuff. He just put down the words. As far as like basic writing goes, no problem with it. It's not his fault. He didn't come up with the story. He didn't create the characters. This is some other asshole.
All right. So, do you have anything else to say about it? Because I don't.
Just the fucking I think Duck Dynasty makes another appearance as well as
the concert.
The Newsboys too. The Newsboys too. In the sequel.
Yeah, in the sequel, absolutely. They all come back because I'm assuming they're going to have another concert.
They must know them. The writer and producer, the producer, the director, whatever. They must know these people, like in the entertainment industry, and that's why they're in this film.
Yeah.
And they must have like worked for cheap, otherwise, like because it's the closest thing they have to real celebrities.
It now reminds me where you said that the two might be an arranged marriage.
Yeah,
I do remember them saying that they met at a Newsboy concert 6 years ago. So
when they were 12,
apparently when they were 12, they met at a Newsboy concert, and they've been together ever since.
It was their first date that their parents arranged for them.
Maybe that happened unknowingly and that it just stuck. But
do 12-year-olds now? I don't have children, and I don't deal with children.
Right.
As far as you know.
Uh-huh.
Do 12-year-olds go unattended to concerts?
Usually, the concerts that I've been to where I've seen young kids like that, they're usually chaperoned by a parent or an adult of some kind.
Right, yeah. So if these two met at the concert, they were with their parents. They had 12.
Potentially, yes.
Arranged. That's it. The parents brought them there. That was their first date.
You two will marry each other. God damn
I'm surprised the Duggars aren't in this. This was before the whole
child molestation, the one son.
Yeah.
It
was before all of that. I think I'm a little foggy, but I'm pretty sure this film came out before the child molestation thing. So I'm surprised they're not part of it.
I'm not. The whole Duck Dynasty thing it's way bigger. They were way more popular than the Duggars.
Apparently.
Because apparently the only thing that they did that was so bad was praising Jesus.
I remember. I think it was the first time I ever was on one of these episodes of Moviesucktastic, where I was like, "Have you heard of this Duck Dynasty thing?"
Yeah.
Say, apparently the whole world watches it. I had no idea.
It was the #1 show on TV for a really long time, and then the one brother of the Duck Dynasty brothers.
That was the racist thing.
Was the racist thing? I think he said.
Yeah, the older guy. Yeah,
I don't remember exactly what he said, but ever since then, the show went on hiatus and it never really came back. It basically fucked up the show.
But that's when it came up because it was in the news. I was like, "What's Duck Dynasty?" And I was like, "Oh, apparently everyone watches this. This is apparently like as big as Seinfeld was." Okay.
I'm surprised that Donald Trump hasn't said that he's going to bring back that show if he's elected president. I'm going to bring back Duck Dynasty. It's going to be huge.
He's going to bring back the
He's going to bring
The Apprentice.
Yeah, probably.
That's how he's going to get his vice president. That's how he's going to choose him.
Oh, is that it?
An Apprentice episode, yeah.
Man, this country really does deserve him.
That's why I'm voting for him.
That's a different show. So, do you have anything else to say about this? If not, we should go ahead and rate this thing.
Just to sum up, it's a poorly written movie. It's a straw man argument. The film is entirely designed to it's not designed to prove like a positive. It's not like that film There Is a Heaven.
Heaven is for real.
Yeah, but I haven't even seen that, so I can't even make that comparison. But it's not like to say, okay, it's not like a film's made to say, okay, here's all the positive things we want to put forth. They create a straw man negative argument that is debating their argument, and they give it arguments that they can easily destroy.
Right.
And that's what propaganda does. Propaganda puts a false argument against itself. It defines the opposition's argument for them, and does so in a way that they can easily refute it. And it does so horribly. And with Kevin Sorbo's probably the best actor in here, and I wouldn't even go that far.
I was going to say most of the acting is pretty poor, except for Kevin Sorbo.
No, Kevin Sorbo's not good though. He's still acting like he's on playing Hercules.
Oh, yeah, but as far as everyone else goes, he's at the top.
No, I think Reverend Dave is better than him.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Reverend Dave was 10 times better than Kevin Sorbo.
I disagree.
No, it's true.
It's not the truth.
You can't lie to a priest. Right there. I believed him when he said that.
Oh my God, I forgot that part in the film. It's like you can't lie to a reverend. It's like, what? Now he's guilting him.
I hate to tell you, but I already rated this film.
You rated it without me.
Apparently I thought it was my personal account, and I rated it like when I saw the movie. Okay. So I didn't realize it until I just looked now.
Let me guess what you rated it as then. It's currently rated a 4.9.
Okay, I didn't give it 7.
Yeah, I don't believe you would have given it higher than a 5. So, yeah, no, I'm going to be guessing below 5.
That's a good guess.
That's a good guess. I have a 1 in 5 chance at this. It's either going to be a 1 or a 2.
Wow, that's good. 50-50.
It's either going to be a 1 or a 2, and I'm going to lean towards 1.
You are correct, sir.
Of course I am.
Now, here's the wacky thing. Just looking at the demographics, it's wacky here. This is the most skewed demographics. I love it.
Well, any high numbers are obviously Christians.
Well, but it breaks down beyond. They don't tell you religion in the demographics.
10,000 people gave it a 10.
But it's but the highest ratings are 10 and 1, which you would expect for a film this polarizing. The highest now, like the male female average male is 4.3, average female vote 6.6.
Wow.
And then when you look at all the other demographics, males under 18, 4.1 average, females under 18, 7.4, like almost double. Females 18 to 29, average is 6.3. Males 18 to 29, average is 4. It almost levels out over 45, but still, like, women rate this film much higher, at least like 2 to 1. Not 2 to 1, but like 50% higher.
Wow.
Almost. It's women. One IMDb staff gave it a 5.
Pussy.
I was just gonna say that. You wanted lower. Now, and just to explain, I gave it a 1, not just because it's a bad movie, but because it's intellectually dishonest. With the way it sets up the whole debate, it is completely rigged argument, discussion, whatever, and is logically flawed and just stupid and wrong.
Yeah. All right, everyone. This is episode 211 of Moviesucktastic, where we review God's Not Dead. As always,
yes.
We thank you for joining us. You can go to our website at Moviesucktastic.com. You can download all of our shows there. You can listen to them on the site as well. I finally updated the player it got out of hand. I think I was like 15 episodes behind. The iTunes is always up to date, but our website, I just did not have time for it. But it is now good to go. You can obviously tune in every Thursday at 8 o'clock, and you can watch the show live. We obviously recommend that way. We would love to have you join us. You can go to iTunes, and you can download the shows there as well. Or if while you're there, go ahead and rate us. We always appreciate that. You can leave us email at themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. If you want to leave us voicemail, which we will play on the show, it's 908-514-4470. And you can download the free app for your Android device. It's 100% free. Everything I said is in there, including facebook.com/moviesucktastic. We put everything there. And also our Tumblr page at moviesucktastic.tumblr.com. And if you want to just do a general search for Moviesucktastic in your favorite search engine, Scott likes Google.
Google it.
You can go ahead and do that. We come up everywhere. So.
And if you want to know what user-voted movies we'll be reviewing next episode, check out the Facebook page. We'll be announcing it in advance by a couple of days. Otherwise, you'll be surprised.
That's right. So, do you have any words of wisdom, Mr. Wilson, before we depart?
God is dead?
Good enough. All right, everybody. We will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
What, this couldn't have waited till after dinner?
That's right.